Well, hi, I'm Rene Boer with my former client, Jim Hlavacek, who is the president and CEO at Mineralac. And Mineralac is a company located in Hampshire, Illinois, and recently celebrated its 125th anniversary. So, Jim, welcome, and I'm so glad you were able to carve some time out to talk with me today.
Well, thank you, Rene. I enjoy working with you always, so let's get started.
Think about a company that's been in business for 125 years. What are the core values, kind of the culture that you created that really kept the company alive, especially over the last few years?
I've been with the company now 30 years. September 4th was my 30th year. I've been president the last 14 years. I personally have seen the company go through a turnaround, the Great Recession, and now COVID-19. So I've had my fair share of things to deal with over my years here.
Yeah.
The core values that really hold us together are creative, unselfish, positive, empathetic, and dedicated. And we've become, since working with you over the years, about 6 years ago, we've really focused on those core values and kind of built our philosophy on how we not only treat each other, but our customers. And it's really helped us move forward, putting those at the forefront. And I would say the most important thing it's helped us do is bring the right talent into the company to fill the seats that we have open. So it's been a tremendous asset for us.
And how did those people that really embodied that culture, how did they help you through the adversity that we've seen over the last 6 months?
Well, over the last 6 months, it's never woe is me. Oh, what are we going to do now? It's, oh, this is the problem. This is the issue. How do we get together, work as a team, figure this out, and move forward? It's been incredible. Now, in all honesty, I have a very seasoned team that has been through a turnaround with me, has been through the Great Recession when we lost 24% of our revenue, but doubled our profits in that first year. So this COVID thing, I wouldn't say it's been easy for us, but it hasn't challenged us like the last events have.
The thing that we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, Jim, was you were saying, it's all about keeping the culture alive. And I love that quote from, I think it was Peter Drucker, that said, culture eats strategy for lunch. We spent a little time on strategy, but it was a lot more about what's the kind of culture we want to create around here and want to really, that will help sustain us. So tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I think the biggest fear we had, because we had a great deal of our office people, our managers, now working remotely. And I think our number one fear that kept us up at night was what's going to happen to the culture of the company long term, because we don't know how long this is going to go for. Short term, we didn't see anything. We didn't lose anything. We had people working remotely before this, so we had a system in place that could support that. But we were more concerned what the long-term effects might be. So there's two things we did immediately and continue to do is I call each one of our employees that is working remotely, usually on a Tuesday of every week. I check in with them to see how they and their families are doing. I'm not so much concerned what's going on in work. That's for them and their managers. But me as president, I want them to know that I'm checking in on them, their family, and what's happening in their neck of the woods. How are they coping with everything? Wow. So that's been very helpful and very good for me because I really feel like I haven't lost touch with any of our employees. The second thing we did is everything we used to do for the employees, although modified, we continue to do. We didn't drop it because, oh my God, COVID is here. Let's stop everything. So typically before every holiday, like Labor Day or whatever, we would have a barbecue for the employees, feed them at a noontime and then send them home with the full day pay so they could get a big start. So we continued to do that. We just had to modify how we went about that. We had food catered in. We had to serve people. People couldn't serve themselves. So culturally, we tried to keep those things up. Rene, you worked with us on a couple of them, but we tried to bring together the management team at least once a year physically to work together and build team building different exercises and stuff.
Yeah.
So this year, and we typically do that in the fall, so we're planning and doing that in September. It's going to be virtual, not in person, but we have two different events that we're planning. One is centered around the core values and how we came about them originally, but now how the core values are helping us now go through this pandemic. And we're trying to get response from different team members and let them present to the group.
Yeah.
And then on the second day, we're going to have another exercise that's going to be based on COVID and how it's affecting you and your family personally, but professionally. What are the challenges and stuff you've had to work through? We've had one of our VP of operations actually make some very difficult decisions. He's now lost 67 pounds over the 6-month period since COVID has started. He had one of his children was at very high risk, so he had to really isolate himself. He's by nature a stress eater, and he had to change that around and develop new habits. Otherwise, he might be in the hospital. So there was a series of events that were very inspiring. So we're going to use that as an example to relate a story, hopefully get the rest of our team members to open up. And then the other thing we're working on is we're trying to create a company trivia contest to get people involved and do that maybe at least once a quarter with different topics, not necessarily work related, but fun related, because we don't get to see each other that much anymore.
Yeah.
And then lastly, this last idea I really love, one of the guys came up with, is we're going to ask all our employees to submit one special recipe that is meaningful to them and their families. We're going to bring those together, and we're going to try and put together like a Minilac cookbook that we're going to present to our employees before the holidays so they can have special recipes they can share with their families.
Yeah, that's terrific. You know, Jim, what was all those phone calls you made to the employees? What was, share with us one that you just feel like, wow, am I glad I made that call? I learned so much. Is there one in particular that you'd say?
Yeah, we have a customer service guy out in Seattle, Washington that's worked for us for 37 years. Most of his family has passed. He doesn't really have anybody left in his family. He's never been married. A big part of his life is Minilac. He has one sister left, but she suffers from dementia, and even though he goes to visit her, and now that's outside a window, you can't go in there. He's really by himself going through this. So my weekly phone calls to him he lets loose on everything. He's a very staunch Democrat. He doesn't mind sharing me all his opinions of what's right or wrong with it. But it's really been a tremendous release for him. And the fact that I'm willing to call and have those conversations that have nothing to do with work, you can just really see how it's helped him have somebody to talk to. You don't realize what this isolation is doing to a lot of people. And now he'll sometimes call me on special events and not wait for me to call him, because he needs that outlet. He needs somebody to talk to.
That just speaks volumes about you as a person, Jim. The saying that nobody cares what you know until they know that you care. Yeah, you exemplify that. So what nugget, what pearl of wisdom would you leave your fellow business owners?
Well, I think the one thing that I'd like to share with everybody is you should not change your expectations with your team or for your company. Regardless of what you're going through, our passion is service excellence. Everything that we do, regardless of the circumstances, we shouldn't lower our expectations. And I think if you do that, those results will follow. Keep your expectations high, always look to the horizon and push your people to the next level, because letting down on them isn't going to help them get through this. Just keep on pushing them up.
Yeah. Well, I'm always looking for pearls of wisdom, and there's a notable quote. Don't lower your expectations. That doesn't help anybody. Hey, this has been a blast. Thanks so much for taking the time, Jim.
Thank you, Rene. Always enjoy our company.